start, and it's had you all stand a little bit. And sitting for a while, I want you to wake up. And, no. Nothing ambitious like that. All right, that's good. Have a seat. All right.
These have tables.
I want to change this up a little bit and go back to something that happened to me in 1966, which is before you were all born. I had the privilege of bringing back to America. I was the second Kansas to do that, a second American. First one was Glenn Cunningham, who, you know, you got to go back in history and read about him. He was the first American, or the last American before me, to set the world record at 1 mile. So in 1966, we put a race together in Berkeley, California, and at the end, I became the world record holder at 1 mile. Well, something very special happened at that event. It was great to set the world record, but as I left the track to go to the tent where all my warm-up things had been stored, everything was stolen. And I had been signing autographs and talking to the media for a couple of hours, so it kind of all disappeared. And as I'm jogging across the field, up ran this real attractive girl, my brother and sister. And she said, now, I went to the better school, Kansas University. She came up and said, I go to Kansas State University.
Woo!
And so I ran a little faster. But anyway, we met on the blind date. She was there with her family, and we met there. This is my wife, Ann, actually. I wanted to just to set the record straight, that's me 44 years ago. So, Todd, you're not the old guy in the room. Here I am. But I want to make a couple of points. You know, when you see guys like Lucas and you hear from all of us, we didn't get there on our own. We had an enormous amount of help from our coaches, from our parents. God gave us some wonderful talent. We had teammates. We had all sorts of things to help get us there. And I want to go back and talk about that a little bit. Before I do, I want to make a point, though. Todd, when your coach asked you to run 500 miles and then 750 miles and eventually 1,000 miles, was he there to hold your hand?
No.
Okay, that's my point. You see, he had to take ownership of what he was going to do with his life. And there'll come that point where the coach can only take you so far, and you have to decide that it's important enough for you to take that next step. I'll share this kind of out of context in the story I'm going to tell, because in my junior year in high school, I'm running on my own. Eventually I would make the Olympic team. I'd run it at 4 minutes, but there came that critical moment when I thought, I don't think I can do this anymore. I mean, I'm running on my own. It's cold. It's dark. In Kansas, now I know you guys get a little rough weather out here now and then, some, you know, occasional rain or something like that. I mean, we're talking snow, we're talking blinding wind, we're talking sub-zero temperatures, and I'm running outside. And so I'd gotten discouraged. I went in to talk to my coach. I said, Coach, I don't think I can keep this up. I mean, and Sunday runs for 20 miles. You know, this is in high school, and I'm doing a very heavy workload. And he said something very profound to me that I want to share with you, and it's kind of going on with Todd, and that is this. He said, Jim, if the goal isn't important enough for you, it won't happen. So that's my point to you. You have to decide along the way that if you're going to try something, there's no easy task to get there. But you have to take ownership of it. You have to decide that, okay, there's an opportunity. I want to try to see what's going to happen. Now, sometimes we get lost in the destination. In other words, we think if we don't arrive somewhere, we've missed something. To me, the journey is the most important part. The people you meet along the way, the experiences you have. I mean, there's no guarantee if you work really hard, you're going to have this fabulous experience. You probably will, but it's the things, the experiences along the way that add to your life invaluable things, lessons that you can never learn any other way. So I want to leave that as a thought with you. And then I want to go back a little ways to when I was growing up in Wichita, Kansas. Anybody ever been to Wichita, Kansas? My wife, there's another Mary, right? Okay, there's a few of you. There's not much in Wichita. I mean, the wind blows from the north in the winter, and the summer blows from the south. There are not many trees, it's very flat. So, pardon me? Are they who? Oh, always. But if you go in the basement, hope they don't hit you. But so that's where I grew up, and I was one of those children, I should say, guys who had a great imagination. I wanted my life to be something, and you all are here because you want your life to be something as well. And track is a part of it, or cross country, or running in general. And so this is during my grade school days. I was the kind of guy in school that most people call a nerd. I was the grade school nerd who couldn't And then I was cut from the team, and it was the church baseball team. So when you think you have a rough day, and we all have them, if you look at all the success we've had, we take confidence, but we all have those moments when we start out, it's like, well, it's not going so well. So I went into junior high. I was tall for my age. In those days, 6'1" was tall. And the coach was the gym teacher happened to be the basketball coach. And so he said, I want you out for the basketball team. So I don't know if you're of course, my imagination was going well, but I've been discovered. I'm going to be a famous NBA basketball player. I'll have a great big bank account. But there was going to be another disappointment. He said about halfway through practice, he said, I want to meet with you in my office. And of course, my imagination was going, well, he's going to give me some special tips on how to play basketball. And he did. I went in, we sat down, and he said, did you notice there's a difference in the way you play basketball and the way the other guys play? I said, yeah, coach, I know I've got to work on my knees. And he said, well, let me help you a little bit. He said, maybe by the time you get in high school, you will have developed a basketball game. But when you finish with your shower, come hang your singlet on the door, and I'll see you back in the gym class. And we all have those experiences. And so the only other sport left for me was junior high track and field. And so I went out to the junior high track and field team. I'm now a lot smarter in the sense that I know that when the coach talks to the team and they're fewer people, he's asked to cut the team. So I started out as a sprinter in junior high, sprinting 50 yards. I noticed that after he talked to the guys on the team on that particular day, there were fewer of them. So instead of getting cut, I became a hurdler. And I noticed after a few more days he talked to the hurdlers, there were fewer of them, so all of a sudden I became a high jumper. So after he talked to the high jumpers, I became a pole vaulter. But probably my most successful event was the quarter-mile run, which was the distance in junior high, the longest we could run. And so this was our workout. We didn't train or anything, but he'd say, okay, on a certain day, come out with this official starter's pistol. And he'd say, we're going to run a quarter mile. Now, remember, we didn't do any training. We didn't know what a warm-up was. And in those days, it was a cinder track, so he'd drag his foot across the track, and after the start and finish line, he'd say something inspirational like, give it all you got. And so he fired the gun, and off we go. There were a few brave souls, and boy, you know, that first 100 yards is great. And then you get to the halfway mark, and you don't have too much lunch.
Oh.
And then you get about 300 yards in, and everything starts to tighten up, right? And all you can think about is out there, there's this line on the track, and that's the finish line. And so when you pass the finish line, our warm down was to go lie down on the soft spring grass until all the hurt went away. And that was the most running I'd ever done in junior high. But you know, like you have those moments of real excitement and those moments of disappointment. I would go home at night and I'd say this, I'd say a little simple prayer, dear God, I'd really like to do something in sports, and my sports resume isn't really very good right now, which is an understatement. And I'd say, you know, dear God, if you've got a plan for my life, may I ask that you help me in sports? And then I'd say amen, go to sleep. And I'd pray that prayer almost every night, because if I was desperate, I wanted my life to be something. Somehow I got that idea that if I didn't have an identity, I wouldn't be anything. So in high school, I was in a large high school, 3-year high school. We had orientation assembly for all sophomores. I was required to attend. We had 1,000 in the class, 1,000 for each of the classes. And something that my high school coach in cross country said caused me to go down in front of the auditorium at the end and sign my life away in cross country. You know what that's like, right? I signed my life away, and it went out to cross country. Don't look at me. Now, I had no idea what cross country was all about. I thought it was fall, track, and field. Maybe this will get me ready for the quarter-mile run. Boy, did it get me ready. I mean, first day in practice, we ran into this little park. And by the way, this Coach Timmons was my high school coach. Extremely successful. He was high school And we spent about an hour or so running around the park, or up and down hills, around trees, and I kept thinking, wow, when did we get to go home? I mean, we went, it was partly downhill to the school. I went home, took a shower, and went home that night. Mom had dinner for me. I said, Mom, I can't eat. I'm too tired. Now think about this in your learning experience. What happens, this is before Advil. Think about what happens when you run too much. What's it like the next morning? I couldn't get out of bed. I kind of rolled out of bed. I went downstairs bedroom with my brother, and I walked up the stairs backwards. Got upstairs and I saw my mom and said, Mom, I'm not going to do that cross-country stuff anymore. I'll be home early. And I went to school and I had 6 class periods on 3 different floors.
Oh.
And my teammates, first period, my teammates said, you're going to come out with the team again, aren't you? And I said, no, I'm not going to do that again. That's the end of it. At the end of 6 periods, the last guy that asked me, he said, you're coming out with the team. I said, well, yeah, I guess so. So I went out with the team. Best decision I ever made. And I want to pause and say this to you too. You're going to have some tough times. Don't run from these tough times. You see, we always talk about character. Character is never really done in the easy times. It's done in the tough times, and you've got to find out what you're all about. And so that was the beginning for me to learn a lot about character. I started on the last man on the cross-country team. And the last man on the cross-country team is way back. You have to look a long ways before you see the first guy. But remember that prayer I prayed at night? Incredible thing happened. Within just 3 months, I went from last man on the cross-country team to first man on the cross-country team, finished 6th in the state meet, and won the state meet, and I was hooked. I got a letter jacket, and I thought there'd be a girlfriend right behind it. I thought, then I went into the track season. Now, during that cross-country season, to give you kind of a marker, I ran my first time mile, 5 minutes and 38 seconds. And it was a challenge. I mean, I just happy that I got through 4 laps. When I started out the track season, we had a time trial 2 weeks before the first meet. I ran a 4:52 mile. I was thrilled. I thought, man, I'm really improving. So I was 3rd on a 3-man team. Dick Alsis, before he had, Title IX and all that stuff. But anyway, 3rd on a 3-man team. And I went to the first meet and never run a mile race on the track, so to speak, or, in a competitive race. So I asked one of the guys on the team, I said, how do you run this race? I'm a sophomore. Can you tell me? I mean, I know it's 4 laps. He said, well, just stay with the leaders, and at the very end, you outsprint everybody else. Sounded like a good idea. So there are 24 of us on the starting line. Gun goes off.